Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Zari and you guys are watching Finance Square. In today's video, we're gonna be looking at what if, just for 1 second, imagine if Bitcoin were to move from proof of work to proof of stake. We're going to understand what would be the major impact to this whole ecosystem. You want to understand what is the interior motive of trying to promote such a thing and why this is going to be very, very bad for the whole system and also for people that might join this Bitcoin and blockchain environment and community in the future. So let's dive in and understand what's happening. So here we have an article from Greenpeace where we have crypto billionaire lobby to change Bitcoin code. Change the code. So basically they're trying to say that they're trying to change the climate in order to basically make Bitcoin more greener. Now, obviously, you guys, you know that now we have Ethereum moving from proof of work to proof of stake, which means in the future or in June, July, you can only issue new Ethereum simply by having Ethereum. No longer you'll be required to have a mining equipment to mine and process Ethereum or create new Ethereum. This is not going to be anymore an option, meaning whoever has been piling up Ethereum for the past few years, all they need to do is they need to just hold in a wallet that basically enable them to generate some extra yield for the amount of Ether they have in the wallet, and also in the future start earning some fees from smart contract and all the fees related to Ethereum blockchain. So this is an amazing thing. If I've entered Ethereum 10 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago, and I'm sitting on $100,000. And before that, the only way for me to make an additional Ether is just going and investing in a mining rig and basically start mining Ethereum. Now I have the option, but just holding Ether, I'm going to be getting some additional revenue. It's no brainer. Obviously, I want to do it. Why the hell will I like to invest in mining equipment, energy costs, and everything surrounding it, and obviously reinvesting in stronger and better equipment where I can just hold Ether? So this is obviously why we have this guide, Larson, the Ripple co-founder, is actually trying to push. Now, what is his interest? Now, the only thing I can think of is that he obviously has been buying Bitcoin for the past few years, because if you are a co-founder of Ripple, you obviously saw Bitcoin, you obviously saw some other cryptocurrency, and you understand that the only way for you to ensure that you're going to become more rich is obviously to eliminate proof of work, and whoever got early in this environment, in this round of cryptocurrency, will become richer and will guarantee their place. So this is basically why we have Larson. I'm assuming going to be even more people are going to be pushing us to move from proof of work to proof of stake. Now, I'm not against moving to a cleaner, better mining of Bitcoin. That's not an issue for me, as long as it's proof of work. So let's now dive in regards to what's happening around the world. One of the things that really shocked me is that we have this year more and more countries that have an insane inflation rate. Now, if you see here, you have some countries that have more than 500% inflation rate, and you have, I think, kind of a lot of recent countries that are going into that 20%. Now, if you look here at the chart, you can literally see that most of the country, again, I don't think this is correct for the US. Okay, the US has a 7% inflation rate. Some people say even 10. This is probably not correct, but just to have an idea that we have now more and more countries that have an inflation rate that is minimum official number 7.5, 7.9, but in reality, it's actually above 10%. So we have here, look here, we have Venezuela that have, if you can see here, they have like 9,558 inflation rate, which is kind of crazy. Then we have obviously Argentina that has 46% or 47%. Obviously, in reality, it's probably going to be higher. And we obviously have Zimbabwe that has 676% inflation rate. And obviously, then we have multiple countries in Africa. We have obviously Sudan, Ethiopia, we have Angola, for example, which are on almost 20%. And then we have obviously some countries like Iran, for example, Turkey, which their currency went down quite a lot. Now, obviously, now the whole situation with Russia and Ukraine, obviously that can create some big impact on the currency and obviously also on Ukraine currency. So obviously you're going to have countries like Russia and Ukraine that are being affected directly by this whole war situation, where their currency going to be destabilized, their economy going to be destabilized because, for example, Russia has many sanctions around them, and obviously this is putting a lot of pressure on their currency. So eventually things will become more expensive because people or countries are not really allowed to do business with Russia, which basically going to make things more expensive. Because if you had before 100 different countries that provide that specific product, then you're going to have only 1 or 2 countries, let's say China, for example. So obviously they're not going to sell you at a discount price. They're going to sell it because you're the only partner they can buy from you. So this is obviously something that you need to take into consideration, that we have now more and more countries where their economy is going down and they're becoming poorer by any moment. Now, if you're a country like Salvador, for example, where your economy is not doing so good and you decide to go all out on Bitcoin, what is the best way for you to do it? So obviously, if you're a newcomer or you're in an economy where you have this big inflation rate and you start to believe in Bitcoin, what can you do? So obviously, one of the options for you is to literally just to start mining Bitcoin. And I'm going to show you why I believe that every country has the resource to mine Bitcoin. So if you're in a third world countries or your economy has been being wrecked and going down dramatically, every country has the resource, has the capacity to mine Bitcoin. But not every country will have the capacity to buy Bitcoin for the purpose of staking, if that's were to ever happen. Because when that will happen, Bitcoin will be worth like $1 million or maybe $2 million. And then if you're extremely poor, you're buying $20 million worth or $20 million worth or $1 billion worth of Bitcoin to basically to generate additional income for the whole country will not be sufficient. But if you have a lot of natural resource, a lot of natural energy resource, you can obviously type into it and obviously help your economy grow and obviously reduce the inflation with time. So this is like another table just obviously for you to see what's happening around the world. So obviously we have here Turkey, 61% inflation rate, Argentina 52, Brazil 10, Spain 9.8, Netherlands 9.7, Russia 9.17, USA 7.9, European Union 7.5, Mexico 7.45, Germany, Italy. You literally have many countries where their inflation are almost above 5%, which is kind of big. So what can they do? So they can obviously try to increase the interest rate. But obviously, if you look at history, every currency that has been issued by the government has an expiration date. So this is why some investor, some hedge fund are putting more and more money in Bitcoin. So let's say you're a poor country. What are your options to generate Bitcoin? So obviously, you can obviously have from coal, for example, from nuclear, natural gas. For example, we all know from what in the news, I'm assuming Iran has a nuclear and they can actually use it to actually generate energy to mine Bitcoin and obviously to help the economy to be more richer, for example. You obviously have a combustion turbine, you have steam turbine, you have wind turbine, you have hydroelectric turbine, you have even the solar panel. So you literally have, if you're in a third world country, most of the third world countries were blessed with a lot of sun, for example, so you can literally just have in the desert a lot of solar panel, and obviously you have plenty of energy to start obviously to mine Bitcoin. The only thing you need to start obviously use some of those energy to also keep the whole mining rig cold and in the right temperature. So this is why, as long that anyone can mine Bitcoin by proof of work, it's a fair game, and it can literally help many countries to obviously to combat this inflation and help them uh, get out of this whole bad cycle of owning money and going to recession and paying money to the whole monetary fund. So this is why this is kind of important, and I actually wanted to highlight this because we should never ever ever allow Bitcoin to move to a proof of stake, because the moment this will happen, if I have bought Bitcoin 4 years ago or 5 years ago and I own 1,000 Bitcoin, sorry, I want to become richer. I don't want to be spending money on mining rigs because there's a lot of uncertainty. I want to know that I have 1,000 Bitcoin and 10,000 Bitcoin, and that will generate me X percentage per year. That's it. So this is why, if you're extremely rich and you think about it, that's where you're gonna push. So this is something that it's gonna happen with proof with Ethereum, but should never ever ever happen to Bitcoin. So if you still don't know what Bitcoin is, please do your research. If you don't know what inflation is that basically all your basic costs went up by X percent for that specific period or for that year. So again, we had obviously after COVID, many things went up. For some country, the price of petrol went up. Some country, the price of property went up because there was a lot of people that were working from home. They moved out of the city. They went to the suburb and rural area where the rent was literally a third of it. And then basically you have around the cities, you have empty offices, empty apartment, because people didn't need to go to work. So why am I paying this crazy rent when I don't need to go to the office and I'm earning the same salary? So obviously it makes sense. We had this big shock movement of prices of the properties, but now when things are going back to normal, obviously we're seeing this crazy price increase in properties all around the world. Obviously we're seeing increase of the whole Ukraine and Russia situation. The price of commodities also went up dramatically. So you're gonna soon look at the price of bread, corn, flour, everything gonna be going up. So obviously this is kind of crazy, and every day I'm reading the news, I'm more and more comfortable that Bitcoin gonna help us to combat this crazy market volatility and help us to maintain the value of our money. So that's it for today. Until next time, bye bye.